Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Offseason podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Brodie. We've got quite the slate coming your way. We have some of the wildest stories I've ever read. The one that's wrapping up the show, I'm very excited, so be sure to stick around to the end because it's a long one. It's a doozy, but my gosh, is it a story. We also are going to have bring back the Guess the Division game. It went pretty well last time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I got a bunch of new entries, so very excited. But we're going to start it all off with a little story from Magnus Hedegaard, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's from Denmark. So he said, 2 years ago, I was playing the Pro Forester PDGA Euro Tour in Croatia. It was my first international tournament, and I somehow managed to get onto the lead card in round 2. I was quite nervous because it was my first time being filmed, and suddenly 4 cameras are in your face for everything that you do. I managed to play decently, but the other guys, including Jakub Semerad, are just another league. On hole 15, something crazy happens. I'm not in contention for the top 3, so I'm playing to try not to embarrass myself. I have a 40-foot putt, I miss, and I need to tap out. The rest of the card moved on to the next hole. I move up to tap out for par, pick up my disc, tapping it in, and I turn around, but as I turn around, I hear an unfamiliar noise, and the next thing I know, the basket's tipped over. Apparently, there's a piece of wood supporting the mobile disc catcher, and the moment I stepped on it, it started to slightly fall over. I was baffled and confused on what happened. Did I break a rule? Luckily, nothing happened. I just moved on and actually ended up shooting the best round of the tournament for him. So we actually have a video of this because I didn't really understand what happened, and he sent me a link to the video. So this is him.
So he tapped out, and then when he turned away, it fell over?
It fell over. Yeah, let's watch the video, Sci Guy.
Oh, perfect. Oh, wow. The heck?
Magnus will take the par as well. Unfortunately, so just like a little
right
low
here
on that birdie putt.
That branch is still.
What are you? Oh my gosh. He killed the basket.
That's so funny.
So barely, there's
like
like piece of wood.
Alive.
It's like he ramped the basket basically because it was wedged under there, and then he seesawed it basically.
Yeah, so he just stood it back up and tried to get it in the same place.
Here's the question: so like he had already taken the disc out of the basket, so no big deal, no sweat. But like if that thing is still in there and it falls out of the basket, it came to a rest at one point, but then it fell out.
Well, the other question is like that basket was not that sturdy. Like he didn't do really that much to it, and it fell over like that. What if a disc knocked the basket over? What happens?
I mean, we just got to ask the question of like, why aren't we? You could just tape down the basket. It's not that hard.
If it's final card, don't you have to leave the basket there now? Because like once someone plays it a certain way, you have to let the course. You can't.
The course how it is.
Like
what are you talking about?
If a tree falls down in the middle of a round, you can't remove that tree.
Well, I think it's different for a basket.
Yeah, I mean that's like nature.
Show me in the rules. I just took a test.
It's like in golf, like they repair a cup if somebody like hits one on the lip of the cup, like they repair it, and they even move the hole.
That makes sense. You think this is going to make sense? The rules over here.
I mean, surely you just set the basket back up to the closest place, and then everyone plays.
That's what I would think too. But it would be hilarious if someone was like, "No, you got to play it as live now."
Spirit of the game, man. Spirit of the game.
The only time I've ever had experience with someone moving a basket, I've told this.
Oh, this is a great story.
I've told this story multiple different places, but I've never told it on the Offseason podcast. So I'll bring it here. I was playing with. It was like a local tournament, and I was playing with a guy. I'm trying to decide if I should say his name.
Yeah, just do it.
Probably should.
He doesn't really
We've
play
never
that
had
much
an issue
anymore.
with name dropping on this podcast.
No, but his name was Weston Isaacs. He was a like local disc golf pro. I think he's from Tennessee. He would always travel in with like Zach Melton and Chris Dickerson would always like in Weston. They'd always come together like the Tennessee group, and they'd play all these local tournaments. Well, this was a tournament that was put on by Tim Barr. They're all tight with him, Tim Barr. So he's a like tournament director, and he had 18 portable baskets that he would bring to like set up temp courses. So this one we were playing was on a golf course, and I had made it. It was like round 2 or something. I had made it on the lead card with Weston, and so it was a shotgun start. So we started on 1. So we're the last group to play 18. So as we come in 18, on top of the hill, you had like. I'm pretty sure Melton was either on my card or was on top of the hill. Cody Bradshaw was up there. It was like the Weston's whole group of friends are up sitting on top of this hill. And how hole 18 worked was a par 5. It like was played level on this flat ground and then turned and went 90 degrees up this super steep hill that had like multiple tiers. It was like where the golf tee pads were. So like, it was basically on the tips, like
classic
the black
disc
tee.
golf hole on a golf course. Classic.
Yeah. And it was like on the top tier on that tee. And then like, as it came down the hill, there was like different indents for the different tees. So ideally you like came down and then you like threw up this hill. And he like, I forget exactly what happened, but he was having a pretty solid round. I was playing like trash, and he had like, I want to say he had a putt or a shot like roll away and roll down the hill, and then I think he threw up again and then had like some type of spit out. The basket screwed him like twice, basically on this hole. And so he taps out 18. We finish that round, and again, we're the last people to play 18. And so we all get our scores and everything. And like I said, there's like a gallery of all of his friends, like that whole group is sitting on the hill here. And afterwards they like are joking with him, and he says something like, "We're the last people to play this, right?" And they're like, yeah, we're the last group. And he goes, "Okay, good." And he just walks up and just Spartan kicks the Mach 3. And this thing just turned and then just picked up steam and just rolled all the way, like at least 500 or 600 feet down this hill. And then like kept getting momentum as it went onto the flat. And it just kept rolling. It was hysterical. So I had a video of it, and I've tried to find it multiple times. I can't find it anymore. I know I sent it to a few of the guys who were there, so someone might have this video, but it was one of the funniest disc golf moments. The basket was fine. It wasn't damaged. Wow. Again, they were close with Tim.
Shout out DGA.
So Tim, like, I'm sure he cared, but he wasn't like super upset. And it was after the tournament, so nothing really came of it, but it was hilarious. He just great. Walked up and just Spartan kicked that thing, and it just took off. No one could have predicted it.
We haven't seen enough of that in disc golf anymore. There used to be a lot more moments where you would see like players, you'd see guys like maybe grab at the chains. Big Germ back in his day used to get pretty mad at baskets. We've seen Nico get mad at baskets. Like everybody gets mad at the basket.
Wasn't there
maybe they take their putter out a little aggressive, but like I want to see a guy just
kick a basket. That happened. What? It was a St. Jude charity thing.
Not a charity event.
Who was it? For some reason Bradley Williams comes to mind. I don't know if it was him.
No, dude, not
But there's
Brad.
footage of it on YouTube. It was old Bradley. Bradley is a completely new man.
I was gonna say not Bradley Williams.
No. Bradley Williams, modern day Bradley Williams, is not the Bradley Williams of old. But gosh, I want to say it was him.
I just want to see somebody lower their shoulder and just steamroll
he just
one.
Kicked it. He kicked the basket. He like missed a putt, walked up and just kicked it. It was on coverage. I gotta find it. They were red baskets. I think it was like a St. Jude charity invitational. I'm pretty sure that like that used to happen. I gotta find that.
I like Adam Hammis like trying to spike it in and it coming out, or like Katrina Allen like rushing up to it and then it's airballing it. I like that more, I think, than like trying to destroy the basket.
Well, yeah,
but the last story,
I want to see a player get fined for it. I think it'd be hilarious. Like what kind of fine are you dishing out? If you and like I'm sure fine. The Pro Tour, I'm sure they have at least one backup basket like with them. You think?
They probably just take something from the practice.
Take the practice basket.
But like, okay, let's say an 18-hole Pro Tour course, no practice baskets. I mean, is that even a thing in a Pro Tour? They probably all have practice baskets.
No, we all have practice baskets now. Sometimes the practice baskets aren't the same.
I was gonna say maybe the practice basket's a Prodigy T1 and the baskets on the course
somebody hits an absolute brutal chain out, walks up, kicks the front of the basket, dents it, like it's not, they try to fix it and it ends up snapping, like the basket breaks, or a chain link gets snapped off by somebody who's mad. Like, what happens? Are we playing?
They probably, honestly, if they don't have practice baskets, they probably don't have a way of repairing it ASAP. But my guess is they probably will find someone in the disc golf community area.
I just want to like,
would they just like eliminate that hole from competition for the rest of the day? Like if the basket's broken and you can't immediately fix it, because then you also
17-hole round.
Well, if it's on the 15th card out somewhere, some like middle card, right, where half the field's played it, but then even if you bring in a new basket,
it's different.
So now the course has changed for the second half. I feel like you'd have to just throw that hole out.
Right. Yeah, it seems like they need to like hire Trevor as like a doomsday guy that just comes up with all these scenarios that could happen. Because I doubt they have even thought about this.
This is what I'm saying is like, in golf, obviously the greens crews are dirty. They're out there and they're fixing that thing. That new hole's being spray painted within 10 minutes. Hockey, like if a net breaks, the guys that take care of the nets, like they're absolute beasts. They can come fix ice. They're squirting water in to fill patches. Like every sport has to have that crew that like if equipment fails them, it's being fixed immediately. And you know what helps the ability to have that kind of thing on staff is universal equipment. Like, imagine if every tee pad on tour used the same kind of turf, every basket used the same materials. They could just have it on their truck. Oh, we tore a little bit of turf. You walk out there, you cut out the old turf, put on the new one. Like,
the new one
you can prepare to like quickly do things because you know exactly what you're walking into.
Yeah.
Is this relevant? Not really.
Sometimes.
It could be.
Can be.
Could be.
That last story though, Hunter, brought up two things. First one is just kind of a yes or no question. Do you guys think anyone during a tournament has moved a temporary basket to benefit themselves, like to make it harder for people behind them?
Not unless you're playing with your buddies in a flex start.
Yeah,
there's
not
no way
during
you're
the
have,
tournament.
There's no way you're gonna have an entire card like get on board with that.
I could see it happening during warm-ups or a practice round.
Like if I had to bet my life right now, like has it ever happened in the history of disc golf tournaments? I would say yes, probably yes, because it's disc golf. But like I'm sure it's not a common occurrence because like
ooh, I can just kind of like when shimmy this 5 feet closer to OB.
When you're playing local tournaments, like you usually end up with a pretty good cast of characters on your card, and like rarely do you get like if I'm on a card of 4, rarely do I have 3 like-minded guys with me. Like I'm gonna get one guy who's a stickler, one guy who's a drunk, one guy who like is playing like it's the most serious tournament of his life. Like you're gonna get a whole cast, and not everybody's gonna get on board with that. Very rarely do you hop on and everybody just kind of seems like they're there for the same reason as you, whether that be good or bad.
I would say it's definitely happened though. Like, oh, we have a temp course set up. Play it the day before the tournament. Tournament happens the next day, and like someone
in the practice round,
in like a practice round's like, oh, it'd be way better if this hole was 50 feet farther back. Let's just move it. Let's pick it up. Come on. We'll just move it. That's definitely happened. Yeah. No doubt.
All right, the next question: how to play better? This was asked during my round with the 4 amateur guys that I'm playing with over in Vegas. One of them asked me, "How do you play better on camera?" I did not have a good answer.
On camera. You do it more often.
You do it a lot.
That was my only answer.
That is literally the only option. When I first started playing on camera,
I think I was gonna say I think the key is to mess up
for someone doing it the first time.
Well, yeah,
mess up early.
I would say
miss a 5-footer on hole 1. Get the camera jitters out.
Yeah, what I did to kind of cope.
That's what you would recommend someone playing on lead card in their first tournament is just
do something stupid early. Do something stupid early.
Like the only way you're going to get better, and this is the same with any pressure situation, but the only way you're going to get better. Now, obviously playing on YouTube is different. Like what I did for my own self was I knew I wasn't that good of a disc golfer. Like I was kind of on the fringe of being okay. So I decided I could have kind of leaned either way. And I decided to lean towards the I'm not a good disc golfer brand. And like that way I took the pressure off myself. I didn't do that at the beginning. So it was kind of weird when I was missing 5-foot putts because I was nervous. But you got to quickly do that. Now, if you're playing on coverage though, like, yeah, the only way to get better is to convince yourself that it doesn't bother you. Like you have to block it out. And there are 2 ways to do that. Either A, having an insane mental fortitude to just like actually block it out and be like, it doesn't matter. Or B, just do it a lot. Because like if you play on camera all the time, eventually it's just a non-factor because you're used to it. You're like, this is just what happens. And it is true though. Like there is truth to what Hunter said. After you do a few things, because like, let's say you play on lead card like 8 times during a season, you play on camera. If by the second time through, you've already missed like 4 or 5 just shocking putts, like done a few things, then you've already done the worst of it. You've already experienced it. And you've probably realized it's not the end of the world. Like, yeah, I ended up on Reddit, whoop-de-doo. But like you become numb to that like idea of getting embarrassed for playing disc golf on camera because who cares? So like, yeah. Certified missing putt on camera expert.
So
I could teach a master class on that.
Yeah, ask your friends and family or loved ones to basically go out and just film your practice rounds.
Well, I think it's different
and post it to all your friends. Yeah,
just post it to everyone.
I think you'll feel different if it's like you're on a feature card or if you made lead card. Those are 2 completely different situations.
It's very true.
Because if you're on feature card, you might
not have earned it.
Yeah, you have like no history of like this tournament yet. And you're just like. Every stroke that you lose, the people on your card, you're like, I'm just falling on the leaderboard. Versus like if it's day 2 or 3 and you've had like good rounds and you like have history on a hole, then like you've earned your spot. So you're gonna feel a lot more confident, feel a lot better when the camera rolls out, because you're like, oh well, yeah, they're supposed to be filming me, not
No, that's true.
my sponsor chose me to be on this card. I shouldn't be here. That's
Very
two
true.
completely different feelings.
It's very true.
All right, let's go ahead and play the guess the division game.
All right.
I'm excited for this
ready.
week. We got some tough ones. Silas, you can go ahead and throw up the first picture, and then I'll pull up their PGA profile.
Oh,
Here we go.
Man. What? Okay, I got a full screen for this. What is that bag? What is that bag? F2? FA? He's posing with an ace at Peaks View.
It is a Peaks View. It is a Peaks View, hole 18. Good eye, Trevor.
Posing with an ace. That's a pretty good ace. The bag setup is new, says new to disc golf, though.
Okay.
Posing with the ace, that can mean a lot of things, but I'm still going to lean towards newer player. I'm going to say that this man, you're saying 2. That was what I wanted. Oh my gosh, I had the realization, Brodie. I was on FaceTime with my wife the other night, and the gestures work.
Gestures.
Yeah. Sorry, gestures. I do that. The gestures work on FaceTime.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know all of these because Brodie does them, and I just rattled them all off. I'm going to say I'll take MA3. But MA2 is kind of what I wanted, but I'm going to be different.
We should do, Hunter, the only thing we should do is we should alternate who gets guess first. So like I guess there technically first. So
okay, Trevor will have first guess next time.
Okay, I like that. It's a great separation. I'll take 3.
Yeah.
All right. And the point goes to Mr. Smith. He was an MA2 player.
I wanted MA2.
Fun fact, he is the guy who took the Eagle McMahon grenade to the head.
What?
Is he the video guy?
Yeah, he's not local. He's from New Jersey. He just like came through and played.
Dude,
played
that's
Peaks
awesome.
So did he just want to show Connor how easy it is to ace at Peaksview?
Maybe.
Man.
He said that his reasoning was he's been playing the sport a while and he works in the sport, and so he feels like that makes it hard to guess how good someone is. But Brodie nailed him. Brodie smelled right through it.
He got him.
All right, let's pull up this next one. Brodie's up 1-0. Trevor's first guess
Also,
here.
what was that bag?
Dude,
I don't know. I don't know what the bag was.
This man's got loppers in his bag. That's hilarious. Also,
what is that? Is that a freaking...
They're like head trimmers. They're loppers that you can use them to
what
cut
is that
branches.
For?
I can't possibly know what you use that for.
He has to be like a TD, right? He has to be a TD, and he's doing like a round where he's trimming limbs that are in the fairway. Surely that's not like
he's probably like a course maintenance day. Like,
that's not
somebody
like
just thought it looked
Connor's,
funny, I guess.
Connor's trying to break 68 and there's a limb in his way, and we just so happen to snap it by accident.
I see the dynamic bag. I think it's the commander bag. That's like pretty tough. He's actually got the same shoes as I have on. Those are pretty nice disc golf shoes. Like they're relatively expensive, so like you've got to invest a little in that. Looks like a pretty athletic guy.
He's like at a camp.
And it, like, okay, if he is doing course maintenance day, that means he's relatively involved in his club, which means he plays disc golf a bit. I'm going to say MA1.
MA1. Brodie, what's your guess?
That's a very good guess.
He could be MPO.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't go lower than MA1.
I should have said MPO.
I can't go lower than, it's either MPO or MA1.
Just take MPO. That's an easy dub. I
know, but the only thing is, that's kind of weird to me is I think he's like a camp counselor. Because this is very camp vibes. Look at these cabins in the background.
I feel like I've played this course. Why do I feel like I've played this course?
Why are there cabins? Why are there cabins like that in the background?
Is this Sasquatch?
No, this is in Pennsylvania. You might have played it. It's in Pennsylvania.
What is this hat?
Why does it look like that one hole that we absolutely fumbled at either Sasquatch or the other one?
I'll take Sasquatch. I'll take MPO. I mean, there's no chance that it's low. It's MA2 or lower.
All right. There's 2 correct answers, and if y'all would have split it, I was gonna have you guess.
I got
rating.
it then. I got it.
It was Trevor. He was half MA2, half MA1. But I feel like a point should go to Brodie because he is a camp counselor.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
That's even better than guessing the division. Brodie sniffed straight through the camp counselor.
I will give him a half a point for that. I'll give him a half a point for that.
Okay, so Brodie's at 1.5. Trevor's at 1 point.
He deserves that.
Yeah, that was very impressive.
Brodie was a camp counselor, so I feel like that's kind of, I'll still give him half a point.
Yeah, that was impressive. All right, next picture here.
Okay, we got the Calvin.
This is my guess. I'm up first.
Brodie's up first.
The Calvin Beats by Dre jersey. Can't see the bag, but it looks.
That is the Calvin Beats by Dre.
I'm going to keep my comments to myself right now. because I
You
have
got the Gatorade reusable.
I've got an important comment that I'm going to keep to myself.
All right.
Any help, Hunter, on what that disc is?
It's an Innova disc. I don't know the exact mold,
Just
but
like
I
some
know
sort
that
of
stamps from Disc Golf United, so it is an Innova disc.
Okay. Athletic build. But this might be like someone that like played other sports and is now just converting over to disc golf.
Yeah, let me tell you from experience, that works out. Okay.
So
there are many a fellow that have destroyed us from other sports.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with MA1 here.
Okay.
All right.
Listen to my
Trevor.
theory, okay?
Let's hear it.
The bag is out of view, but the looks of that water bottle and the way the bag is sitting on his back, I think that's just a backpack.
Ooh.
I don't think he has a disc golf bag on.
Okay.
And for that reason, I'm going to say MA3.
MA3. And Brodie's guess was MA1?
Yeah.
I was leaning towards MA3 as well. Like, and then I just said
it's a
maybe
shot
incorrect, both of you. It's MA2.
We split
MA2.
half point to each.
Dang it.
Here's gonna make it hard for you to add up.
Yeah, okay. We're at 2 for Brodie, 1.5 for Trevor. It is Trevor's first guess on this next picture.
Okay.
See what we have pulled up next here.
Oh, just absolute stud.
Wait, who is that? Carter Ahearns?
No,
I mean,
no, you don't know the guy's name.
Just absolute stud.
I mean,
the whale sack, the way he's got the whale sack and the disc. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean
who's taking his professional photo?
Like, oh, dude, this guy bombs. This guy was born in the Innova East factory. I can tell you that. And what is that? A Mariners hat? Sick. He's a West Coast guy. I mean, it's either MPO or MA1.
This kid's trash.
I'm gonna say MPO.
All right, Trevor's locked in MPO. Brodie.
All right, so if I take MA1, anything lower, I win, or
it's
what?
The way he's standing, I can tell this kid's athletic. There's just something about the way he's standing there.
No, right now we're just giving points for
autos.
Yeah, if you get it right. If you get it right, you get a point. And then if we need a tiebreaker, we'll go to rating on the last player if we need a tiebreaker.
I'll take MA1. I'll take MA1.
MA1. Trevor, what did you take, Trevor?
MPO.
And the correct answer was MPO.
Thank you.
Because actually in 2023,
he's gross.
In 2023, he cashed $5,220 at local events.
You can just
he's
tell
almost 1,000 rated.
That was the easiest answer. So
that kid is good at disc golf. It's very.
He's
obvious.
on Team Innova. He's on Team Innova.
I think that was a plant. I was gonna say I think that was a plant for him to get better exposure and move up the
What's his name?
Team Innova
What's
ladder.
his name?
Give him a shout out. Give him a shout out.
Let me open him back up. His name is Braston Waugh.
Braston Waugh.
BHRAHSTEN.
How do you spell his last name?
WAUGH.
That's a sick name too. Braston Waugh.
Braston Waugh.
I'm right here.
I'm putting a future.
He's been playing for 13 years in the PDGA.
Oh, he's dirty. I'm putting a future on him. 2029 world champ.
All right.
Braston Waugh. Dude, that's sick.
So you've seen those people posting like the top 5
rounds.
Rated rounds.
Yeah.
So this was his top 5 rated. This is his last post. You can follow him at Braston BHRAHSTEN 45463 on Instagram.
Oh, he's at the PGA
his top
number
5
too.
rated
30.
rounds. Phoenix Fall Classic 1044. Maricopa Open 1045. Memorial Championship 1045. Kodo Conquest 1072. Azoga Fall Weekly League 1090.
How do you go 1090 at a weekly league? Give me in that weekly league.
It's probably got
Who's
a lot of OB.
playing with. Like, what the heck? Wow, that's good. He's a killer.
All right, so the score now, if I remember correctly, is Trevor at 2.5 to Brodie at 2.
Yeah, half point separates
us. All right, final one
I'll
here.
give him a fall back.
There you go.
There
you go, Braston.
I didn't get the point, but you got the fall back.
Final one here.
Whose jersey is that? Is that Corey Ellis's jersey?
It is a Flippy Disc Golf jersey, Trevor.
This is my guess.
Yeah, but that's the logo on the sleeve.
I don't know.
The logo on the sleeve looks like Gateway almost.
Oh, yeah, that is a Flippy design.
Could it be almost a Gateway? Like G?
Could be.
He's holding
an Axiom disc, it looks like. Okay. Is it Brodie's first guess?
It's my guess. He's got so many wristbands on. Why does he have so many wristbands?
I got my own. concessions about this guy.
What kind of watch is that on his left? What is that? Is
This
that a
guy-
leather?
I think it's another wristband.
This
I think
guy
it's a
is that a
looks
leather
like-
wristband?
This guy looks like if Bradley Williams and Gavin Babcock had a child.
I believe if it's a watch, it's on the bottom side of his wrist.
Which is weird.
Could be. I mean,
That
it's like
is weird. Let's
doctor
keep
or
that in
nurse,
mind,
you know,
Brodie.
checking pulse,
Keep that in mind.
right?
Good
Yeah.
performance hat.
No, there's some watches that
What
go
is
on
in
like
his
that.
ear? What
That's
is
an earbud that goes on the outside of your
They're
ear.
those headphones, bone conductors that go over your ears but not in, so you can hear things
So you
going
can
on
kinda hear
around you,
around
but you hear
you.
music.
What?
Oh, you
Yeah.
don't know about that?
Common
I
in
didn't
running.
even know that existed.
Come on,
Very
man.
common in running, so you can hear
Yeah.
your surroundings but hear your
That
music.
makes sense. You hear a car coming up that's going to hit you in the back.
Yeah, hit him with it.
I don't trust really anyone that wears glasses when they play.
Ooh,
That
Interesting.
eliminates a few people from tour.
Yes, it does.
Eagle
Mason
McMahon, hot
Ford,
seat.
don't trust him. Anthony Barella, don't trust him.
He's wearing glasses right now as he says this.
I don't trust myself. Shooter sleeve,
shooting sleeve. That's a good pickup. Yeah,
MA3.
MA3.
Oh, easiest dub of my life.
Trevor.
give it
Easiest
to
dub of
me.
my life, dude. There's no way. That bag setup is clean. Like he's wearing a flippy disc golf jersey. Like this man shows up to compete. If you play enough tournaments, you're gonna eventually work your way out of MA3. I don't believe that he's pro level, but I'm gonna see. I could play you really dirty and say MA2, and I'm guaranteed to be closer. But I'm not that kind of guy.
That doesn't give you points.
Hey,
I'm
you
not
gotta
that-
get
give
it.
you
You gotta
points.
get it.
Gotta be
I'm
dead
gonna
on. That's how we
say
play
I'm gonna
it.
say MA1.
MA1.
This is definitely a
BMA2.
trap card though. Hunter loves the
BMA2.
trap card.
Winner is
He loves it.
MA3. Brodie
Oh my
Nailed
gosh, dude.
nailed it.
That guy, that is
Come
just a
on.
guessing game at that point.
Well, no, why I chose it is that's like the exact reason this game exists was because we were like, you never know. Like if someone shows
What
up
is
looking
his
like that,
rating? What is
It
his
was
rating?
the wristbands, man. No
His
one's
rating?
wearing that many
Yeah,
wristbands.
I want to hear his rating.
let's pull up his rating.
He's got to be at least 900 rated.
856.
Oh my!
He's got
856.
too many wristbands. He's got too many wristbands.
The wristbands
Trevor,
might have given it
come on.
away. The wristbands might have given it away.
Dude, next week I'm putting a picture of myself up there, and you guys can try to guess my rating.
We do need a few more submissions if you want this game to continue. So if you got a picture of yourself playing
Brodie.
disc golf out there, send it to Hunter
keep
at
sending 'em.
foundationdiscs.com and a link to your PDGA profile, please. That would be fantastic. These are always a blast. So
Brodie, what would you guess my
You
rating
could also
is right now?
technically send in your friends.
you can,
Yeah.
yeah, if you got a picture of your friend.
Wait, is that illegal to send in unsolicited pictures of people?
You should
Probably.
ask them,
Don't send in
probably.
pictures of your friends.
Okay.
Unless I give you permission.
Yes. Well,
Well,
I'll look up the law. It might
Let's get
not
the
be
law.
illegal. So maybe
let's get the
maybe
law.
maybe you can send in pictures.
You know, do we want to next week go guess the rating and you get closest without going over gets the point?
I
Ooh,
like that. Yeah, I like it.
I think we do that next week. I think we do that next
Also,
week.
okay, if you do that though, we're gonna need more information. Okay, we're gonna need
I can get you some
know.
more information.
We're gonna need to know like career earnings. We're gonna need to know where they're from because rating obviously matters.
Well,
where you're from.
yeah, I guess
Career
career
earnings
earnings.
but career earnings takes out the trap card.
Let's just try this.
Because
Let's
like
try
if
this.
I
Oh,
knew
that's
career
right.
earnings,
If
if I knew
you're-
career earnings of that last guy, like
No,
I
you're
would
right.
Let's
never
try
even.
this. Let's try this.
I need
Silas,
location.
we'll test the game out right now. Silas, just throw up one of the pictures that wasn't the most recent one. Just any of the other ones.
Also, I know
one that
it's
we
not-
used, Silas. One
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
used.
one we used. One of the ones we
But
just
just
used.
wasn't the last one.
I also know it's
Yeah,
not.
perfect.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this was the camp counselor.
And he
He's
was
from
in
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So he was split between MA1 and MA2 with 2 tournaments in each. He has 4 total career events, 0 career wins.
He's only played 4 career events ever. He's out of
I think we also need
Pennsylvania.
location though too.
He's
though.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
He's Pennsylvania.
Exton,
Okay.
Pennsylvania as an amateur.
Yeah, I think that's good information right there.
I think that he is 942 rated.
942
And
is locked
I would
in.
say like 908.
908.
Way higher than that. Has to
Brodie
be.
Smith with the win. 914 was the right answer.
Oh, so
Within
he's just
6 points.
So he's just in the wrong. Well, I guess he's not. When did they say that you're supposed to go to MA2? Like what point?
Oh, MA2, I don't know. 935 is the cap to go to MA1.
Wow. MA1 is just an absolute snake
Wait.
pit.
Once
Like,
you're over
you got
9,
guys-
once
Once you're over
935,
935, you're not supposed to play down.
You got guys in MA1 that are scraping 935 and then guys who can legitimately shoot like 1050 golf.
Well, yeah,
in the same division.
MA1, you could be 1070 rated and just stay as an AM
that is
and still be an
snake
MA1
pit.
Yeah. Well, MA1.
Hey, if I just tank a little bit more, I can get back into MA2 though.
That's true.
I don't think. I think we're fine.
I'll submit a claim. I've done it before.
You guys can send in pictures of your friends because how the heck does America's Funniest Home Videos work?
We submitted a video to America's Funniest Home Videos, and you have to fill out this whole long, legal document.
Yeah, but you're not.
One of my cousins got on there.
Other people, you're just sending it in there.
I mean, from all of these other people, it's like their family videos.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm not getting permission from my family. Each family member to submit a video.
I think I did.
If they were in the video,
it was a long 10-page document. My sister and I had to fill out because.
Oh, you did one too. You haven't been through this process, man.
My brother-in-law was trying to light my mom's birthday cake with a flamethrower, a blowtorch, and it blew up. It caught fire.
What did we just get on? We got on ridiculousness.
I don't know if it's aired yet, but yeah, we're supposed to get on ridiculousness
for the football monitor
my football
thing.
Laser shot at Trevor.
Yeah. Oh heck yeah,
dude! Perfect copied it. Never forget.
They did. They copied it.
Dude,
frame by frame, bar by bar. They took our flow, man.
I'm their biggest hater.
Why am I still red?
With your hat on?
Yeah. Oh, there you go, bro. There you
go, Brodie. All right, let's get to the first topic here. KG Disc Golf said, you talked about it in the podcast today. Good vibes, enjoying the day, cardmate putts. His disc is in the bottom of the basket. Next guy lines up instantly without hesitation and putts his. Hits the top of the chains in the sweet spot. Disc goes down on its side, and guess what happens? It hits the last guy's disc, bounces straight out. We all look at each other in shock and not sure what to do. The first guy says, that's on me, I should have cleared it. The other guy on his card said, it bounced out, so technically either way, it's not in. Then the person that putted was quiet, and you can tell he was annoyed, but said, I should have let him clear it. So we scored it and he got a stroke for the bogey. Luckily, the group was cool. Everyone had a good time from the start. Lesson is, always clear the basket. Not really a first topic, just a reminder.
I'm a guy who likes ammo when I get back to the after the round talk and everybody huddles up and they talk about how bad the course screwed them over. I like ammo, so I'm not going to make you clear your disc because if that happens to me, A, I want the story, and B, I'm going to have people enthralled with me when I get back there and tell them about it. Yeah, I'm team don't ever clear the disc for me personally. I'll clear my disc. Of course I will. I'm a gentleman. You don't have to clear your disc. I don't care if you threw one of those balled up blowflies in there and it's taking up half the basket. You don't have to clear your disc for me. Let it happen. And I don't hit the center of the basket anyways.
What makes us do that? It's in our human nature.
That's courtesy. It's a gentleman's game.
Human nature what?
No, you're thinking I'm talking about something different. What makes us do an activity and then have to vent? Because it happens in every sport. It's not a disc golf
because we want to validate ourselves to let me give you an example. When I played college disc golf and we all got back on the team bus, you're trying to explain your case to your teammates. This is why I played.
This is why I just cost us the tournament,
you want
guys.
Them to understand. It's excuse making. It's how I live.
You just want to be accepted. I think it all comes down to acceptance.
And to be fair, in the game of disc golf, there are legitimately awful breaks, just awful breaks in golf and disc golf. It happens. So it's so hard sometimes to hold that in when you imagine you go out there. We just
saw with Patrick Mahomes though, and Josh Allen,
where he literally
as he was giving a high five to Josh Allen, he was like, that was the worst ref call I've ever seen.
Because you get caught in the moment.
Because you don't want it to be your fault.
Right.
When something is your fault, you don't want it to be your fault.
You're frustrated.
No, it couldn't have been me.
And a lot of times
he needs to read Extreme Ownership from Jocko Willink or whatever that Navy SEAL book is.
Oh, there
Here's
you
the
go.
thing though, you do it enough times. I've played enough disc golf tournaments and you kind of get outside of the bubble of all the nonsense, and now I just love it. I just enjoy it. I plant myself in those circles. Oh, you got a bad rollaway? Tell me all about it. I want to hear about it.
You got to pack your lunch so that you make sure you're there whenever it's eaten.
Yeah, it's more of an improv theater thing for me now, where I hop in there and then I'll just start I know exactly what I'm doing, but I still want to contribute to the group. It's just fun. It's my favorite part of tournaments.
Is I'll remember some bad holes, but
and the best part is the pros do it too. It's so fun.
I can't tell you
I'm you, Trevor. I love to just sit back and listen.
There's some notorious pros. I mean, at USDGC, there's a few that came over to us.
I won't say who it was, but bro,
I'll tell you.
This group came up,
I
right?
won't say
And they 3 or 4 guys come up, and I'm like, "Oh, how's it out?" And they were like, I forget exactly how it got brought up, but basically it was like, man, my man was going so bad. I had an 8-year-old praying for me in the middle of the fairway, while I'm trying to freaking throw. He's like, it's the most distracting thing ever. He just like was walking, talking, and he was like praying for me not to hit the tree or something along those lines. And like that was his excuse for that hole. I was like, that's hysterical.
Oh my gosh.
I have learned that it is better to just let someone vent. When they're venting, just let them vent and not try to be the voice of reason.
No.
I've tried to be the voice of reason a few times and
they
been
don't
like,
want that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you kind of threw a bad shot though, and it hit the tree, right?
Well,
like it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't and then they go off on you. So it's better just to sit back and let them vent.
There are some things in disc golf that happen to you that feel so personal, and they feel unlucky even though they're not. So like, for example, would be hitting a really tiny branch or an iron leaf where it just abuses your disc mid-flight and it feels unlucky even though that branch was always there. Like you hit the branch. It didn't move in your way. But like it just gets you so riled up because you're like, just how did that happen? Like I missed the big part of the tree. So I think that's just what gets people just really started is like so many things just feel personal on the disc golf course.
What really sucks is like when you're on a card and the guy in front of you grip locks it right and goes through and hits nothing, and then you grip lock it right and you square a tree and drop OB, and you're like,
you barely hit the tree.
We both messed up.
Hot take, no such thing as grip locked.
What do you
call it?
It happens every Monday.
I'm just saying it's a hot take. I think similar to like the reach back, how it's not, you're really not actually reaching back, you're coiling.
What are you defining grip lock as? Because like I would define it.
I think a grip lock is what Connor did on hole.
No, because that disc came out of his hand on accident.
On hole 9
at grip locked.
No, that's what a grip lock actually is like where you're release, like the idea that you're releasing it late. Like you're releasing it late, like that's what a grip lock would look like. Is like it's going way behind you.
Completely subjective. A grip lock just means I tried to let go of this on time and it happened to stay in my hand too long.
Yeah.
Grip locked.
But
it's completely subjective.
It's not staying in your hand too long.
There's no definition to it, Brodie.
No, I know, but it's not. You're not actually like, oh, I held it in my hand long. If you're throwing fast enough,
don't you ever feel like the disc like hooks onto your hand?
Hear me out. The only time you can actually grip lock in the sense of where you're timing it coming out of your hand is if you throw at a certain speed too low. So like if you're throwing like an upshot, then you could actually hold on to it long enough because you actually are releasing it. When you're throwing a full speed shot, most of us are throwing fast enough to where we're not actually in our head, like letting the disc come out of our hand. That's why you hear snap from people that actually have longer hands because the disc is snapping out of their hand and their fingers are hitting this. I don't have it because my fingers don't do that. That's why I don't have snap. The people that have snap simply is just because the way their hand is built.
Oh my gosh, dude! I needed to hear that.
They can do that.
Wait, just like,
so like there are people you can go with people and they can
Hunter
make
does
noise.
It dummy loud. Okay, guys, I need you all to see this. This is important. It has nothing to do with how much spin you make on the disc.
Correct.
It's just your genetics.
Oh wow, yeah, no, that's
your
totally
hand
true.
is just built that way. Dude, Silas Schultz must be able to make a booming clap.
Silas Schultz probably just like clap so fast like this.
What
correct. So with that in mind, again,
man,
the snap thing is not that. The other thing too
is the one thing I had in the sport was my snap.
When you're throwing that fast, the disc is actually pulling out of your hand.
Yeah, it's being ejected.
Okay, so you're not actually releasing it. And so by that, you're not actually holding on to it too long. What you're doing is your upper body is moving too fast compared to your lower body. Like you've started your upper body before your lower body. The timing is off. So actually, when you go to release, when you normally would, your body is pointed more to the right.
That's a reasonable train of thought.
Yeah,
and that is why
call that a grip lock.
That's reasonable. But I know I would argue, Brodie, that when I grip lock a disc, it's not usually like I may say it when that situation happens, which totally does happen the most. But I would say what's the most true grip lock is when you have a disc like hook onto your grip. Like sometimes, especially if I'm like power gripping a putter or something, and you feel it kind of you snap it and you feel it kind of latch onto your fingers last second and then turn right. Like
That's
my
your own
grip,
fault for power gripping a putter.
locked in the disc. There are a lot of people power grip putter.
I could totally see that more for like a putter. Yeah, because
it doesn't really happen with drivers. It's more mid putter thing. But like,
yeah, I could see that.
Like, because you can feel that on your hand where like that disc on its last rotation hooks your fingers and then goes right. But yeah, no, you're right. That makes sense. I'm glad we debunked it. I know this is where this is coming from. This is coming from a place where you were battling for #1 podcast. You know, we're going to tell you that there's no such thing as a tour life next week.
There might not be. Hey, with some of these hot takes that I'm seeing on Twitter, disc golf might not. Yeah, pro disc golf might not exist in a couple years.
Oh,
with what some people are saying. So.
Oh, nice.
That would suck.
Yeah.
Pro disc golf will always exist.
Yeah, we'll make it if we have to.
The tour, I guess.
National tour will just come back, man.
Is what some people are saying.
Oh yeah, do we have
the PDGA running everything? Oh my gosh,
I'd be down for
the Doomsday PDGA tour to come back.
The PDGA has never done anything to show that they can't be responsible to run things.
I think it'd be a good tour.
Correct.
Or know how to budget money. They are really good at knowing where to spend their money.
Well, they're really good at budgeting money because they have a lot left over every year.
Well, also, let's say this real quick. It's not their money. They're really good at spending our money.
It's our tax-paying dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The disc golf tax.
The disc golf tax. The disc golf tax, man.
They should take they should just take a percentage of every
coming for my money.
The PDGA should just take a percentage of all career earnings instead of you paying an entry fee.
Yeah. Income tax.
Yeah. Tax the top people. Come on.
Tax the top.
Then if you're just an amateur and you just want to play, like you don't have to give them your frisbee. Yeah. It's just the pros. 20% of all pro earnings go to PDGA.
30%.
Yuli, you have to convince Yuli. Yuli
75%. Let's go 75%.
Yuli wants to play on tour for free. So I'm sure he would love that idea.
Dang.
Nothing's free, man. Nothing's free. Rule number 1.
Except for mints at the restaurant.
Well, you did pay to eat at the restaurant though.
Yeah, it's not
technically
free.
Not though. I can just show up and get water.
Some of them also put them on their front counter. You can just walk in, take one.
That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
The front counter people. Well, COVID kind of ruined that.
Yeah,
so
they did.
Screw all COVID.
All right. Elwald12 said, I was playing my first sanctioned tournament and there was a water carry hole with a road OB behind the basket. Some of the people on my card have already thrown, and then a truck pulled up and parked right behind the basket. An older gentleman got out, followed by his dog, and the gentleman was going to fish right in the way of our shots. Luckily, the next tee pad was right next to the truck, and the card in front of us explained that there was a tournament going on, and his truck and himself would be in the way. So he was kind enough to move his fishing spot. However, while this is going down, his dog was not on a leash and was running happily and stuff. The dog found one of our discs of someone on my card and ran off with it. The gentleman wasn't aware of this, so he called the dog back to him as he was leaving, and the dog hopped into the truck, still holding the disc in his mouth. I guess the owner didn't notice this.
Dude, there's a PDGA rule for this.
And he drove off to the next fishing spot. Our card was freaking out.
Lie.
We were 300 feet away with water in the way, and we couldn't stop the truck as he drove off, so we didn't know what to do about the card member's lie. So we give him a gallery drop.
2015 Sexton.
We give him a drop 15 feet from the basket and just called it good enough. So he got a birdie at the cost of losing a disc in the most bizarre way. What was the technical right move?
No, there's a rule. Literally, they wrote up a question in the PDGA official book. I had to answer it. Literally describing
like the question.
Literally describing what happens if a dog picks up your disc and moves it. And then the answer is definitely you move it back to where the gallery last saw it.
Yeah, you move it back to where it last was. So
they wrote that into the rule book.
As long as
they
the
just
15
handed him
feet,
a birdie to make up for his.
As long as the 15 feet was where his disc was.
Yeah, I'm assuming
that's the right way. If they just gave him a 15-foot putt,
that's silly.
That's not right.
That's some foundation type stuff right there.
I think they felt bad for him. Was like, here, man, here, just take a birdie.
That is so funny. It hopped in a truck and got out of there. When you first started that story, I was picturing like a box truck getting behind the hole, and I thought they had a backboard. I thought that's what was about to happen.
Now the dog just stole the disc, man.
If you guys don't mind, can I share a story from a tour story?
Tour life?
You guys have played this hole. What is it called? The Genius hole? Is that what they call it?
Super genius, man. Because they looked behind them and they said, "Genius."
Okay.
It's up the hill.
Yeah, man. Got the whole origin story.
Okay, so this is Beaver State Fling. This is hole
18.
Yep.
Well, not for tour.
No, we played the tour layout.
I played the tour layout.
It wasn't hole 18. It was
We got robbed.
I think it was hole 17.
So they
This
lied to
hole
us.
18, I think, was the par 4. And did you guys play the hole that had the really cool sign that said Beaver State Fling and the island green by like hole 1? That was FPO's basket.
All I know is that we played what was allegedly the Beaver State Fling layout from this year.
Maybe we played it combined because I feel like that was the green when we played the Genius hole. So maybe that's why we played the Super Genius hole. Maybe they combined.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So we played we played it as a par 4 where
Okay.
you throw from up top.
Yeah, we threw from
And
up
then
there.
your second shot is onto the island by the park or surrounded by the parking lot right there.
Yeah, we
That
also
sounds like the same hole.
we couldn't throw. They had the parking lot island is closed. The basket was like to the left of that on the left side.
Okay, so you know the hole.
We know
though.
the hole.
Okay, so
Hard
I
hole.
threw my shot, and really the only way to birdie that hole is to get on the other side of the road.
Yeah, which is a bomb.
which is a bomb. But that's the only way to actually birdie the hole. So I throw my shot, and I'm like, that is absolutely perfect. That's got the distance. It's going to. There's a good chance, as long as it doesn't hit the curb, I'm safe. I'm good. And everyone on my card is like, oh, let's go. Everyone's excited. Guy holds up a red flag, and I'm like, what? How? Like, what happened? We get down. My disc is in the middle of the road, which is impossible because you could only see like a little bit, and we saw it skip off of the road. So the fact that it landed in the middle, I was like, what is possible?
But a guy gave you an initial red flag, like right away.
Yes.
Interesting.
So what we ended up finding out, there's a bunch of in that parking lot behind the basket. That's where all the vendors were. It was told that the vendors had to get there at a certain time, like before the round started. And once they got there, like they couldn't leave.
Oh man, you hit a car.
Apparently a vendor was over it and wanted to get out of there. And the people doing the crowd control on the car situation did not tell that person to stop. Or I guess they claimed that they told them to stop and they didn't listen. But what ended up happening was my disc skipped off the road right as a truck vendor was
That's
driving
so
down
tough.
that road and hit the truck and dropped in the middle of the street.
I hope he dented his truck. Probably didn't.
That's when I knew. I was like, I mean, that's where
That's
the
disc
tour
golf.
is right now. That's what we're dealing with. Is like you can just
Hitting
have rogue
trucks.
people driving
I mean,
around
imagine that's
with
for the win.
backboards.
Like you're on 18, tied for the lead. You throw your first up, you throw the drive, and then you just get
That's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
that's what you guys are rooting for. You guys are
Disc
rooting
golf-
for this to happen.
No, I love the
that way
doomsday stuff.
Change has to happen.
No, this is.
'Cause that's the only way it would.
I have talked about the disc golf doomsday stuff for a long time. And like, remember when was it Ricky that hit the umbrella and stayed in bounds or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like so far, disc golf has encountered these weird situations at the right times, like in situations that don't really matter. One of these days, somebody is going to have, like, let's just use the dog example. Somebody is going to have some important shot and their dog's gonna like the disc they needed for the next shot's gonna get carried away by a dog, or like something doomsday embarrassing is going to happen in like a world title situation, and we're gonna end up on ridiculous for the bad reasons. Like,
hot take. I think that's great for the sport. I think
it
if
paints
that
the sport as a joke.
because stuff happens in golf, right? Like a squirrel comes up and like does something to a ball.
Yeah, but
or
stuff
whatever.
that you can regulate, like a truck driving by, you can regulate. You can't regulate if a seagull picks up a golf ball. Like, yeah,
but
sure,
like
that's funny.
if the tournament staff actually tried to stop the guy and he didn't stop, what
There's
more
no
can
way
you
they
do?
try to.
You got to
there's
sit in
no
the middle
way
of the
they
road
try
at
to
that point.
stop.
You got to
I'm
sit in
not-
the middle of the road.
There's
I'm
no
just
way
saying,
to try
like,
to stop the guy.
What it
There's no
guarantees
way.
is you're going to get talked about on like major sports things.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, look
Like,
how
this dude
stupid disc golf is.
No.
You got to avoid trucks while you're throwing for the world championship.
No, because it would be like the only reason
Yeah.
it would make it there is because they know it's crazy.
No,
They
wouldn't
know, like,
it's
that's
crazy 'cause
not
they don't
normal.
know anything about disc golf. They don't know that that's not normal. That's the problem. Is they don't.
Yeah,
like,
they do, because that's the only time they've seen it sent to them. If it was normal, they would have seen it 50 times.
That's not true, because they wouldn't have disc golf sent to them if something crazy didn't happen.
Exactly my point. if something crazy didn't happen, disc golf wouldn't have been sent to
Right.
this.
No, I know,
They-
but I'm
they
saying
have
when you
no
watch
other
that, you're
perception of the sport.
you're just
You're like,
assuming
oh, they're throwing
normal
shots over a
bystanders
road.
are-
Like that's already insane for probably somebody who just commentates over normal sports. It'd be like, oh, they're throwing over a road and there's just cars driving by. Like that's if I were a guy who knew nothing about disc golf and I saw Brodie's shot sent to me,
that would
I
be
would
weird.
go, I'd be like, what the heck? In this sport, they throw like there's just like roads going through and like cars are just driving through. They gotta avoid
There's
the
like
cars.
a golf cart. There's a golf cart path. Like what if
Yeah,
a
but
ball,
Hunter,
what if a
I
ball
don't
hit the
have to
golf
explain.
cart?
I don't have to explain to you why that's.
I'm just saying. I think it'd be good. I think it would get exposure.
Okay.
I think it'd be
The
good.
other
I think it'd
thing
be good.
that's kind of
I mean, you
the
just
other thing
compared a public road to a golf cart path,
Not
and
a
there
public
wouldn't
road. It's not a public road.
the public can drive on it.
Yeah, but it's not a public road. It's in a park.
Okay, that
And
the
it's
public,
shut down.
well, not shut down enough.
yeah.
That was the whole
Okay.
problem.
Let's go to a different topic. How the fact that we don't even really this is like the norm now in disc golf is kind of crazy because we have seen this happen multiple times of where people are so close to the OB line that shots that are rollers, skip shots that are like coming back inbounds and watching galleries have to try to get out of the way and coolers, backpacks, stuff like that being in the way. That's like kind of become the norm a little bit in disc golf of where shots just get denied when we shouldn't. Like there should be certain areas where it's like, hey, a lot of people throw this like skip forehand shot into the green here. We should probably back up
See,
our
I
There's
don't
two
know.
sides to it,
I
though.
don't
'Cause
know.
yeah, you could also say just don't throw that shot.
Because when we went to a golf tournament, we were standing and balls flew into the gallery multiple times. But it's like,
yeah, but those
but
are
I'm
bad
standing OB.
shots. And those
Yeah,
are
but-
bad shots.
So I would
But
agree
if
the
you
disc
know
golf
that's
course,
OB,
if it lines up in
and
a
you
way
know
that you
there's gonna be a
have to throw a
gallery.
shot that like involves skipping around OB or whatever, then that's one thing. But a lot of times it's like we didn't have to push it that wide,
Yeah.
or you didn't have to skip, like throw it flat.
Like
Like
throw it higher. You,
Well,
you know the
this
whole
is-
time you're prepping, that's OB.
I guess
and you know there's
the
galleries.
weird
But
line
it's
would
different.
be that
It's
like lead
different,
card
though.
would be dealing with a group of people, whereas every
Yeah.
other card wouldn't be. So like
And
that
that's
would
what
be
I'm
true.
saying.
That's true in golf too. Like there were
That's
cards
why-
that dealt with less galleries than others.
If you can't,
right. But like there's an entire rough before you get to the spectator
Yeah.
group in golf.
that's my point. If you can't adjust the grass length, right? If you can't make it to where you're not going, if you're going to hit OB, you're not going to skip back in bounds, right? If you can't do that, that's where I love like hay bales. I love something to where it's prohibited because we all know like if you're throwing like a left to right shot into a green and OB is water on the left, like if you throw it poorly, it's not going to skip out of the water on safe. But if it's tight grass, then a poor shot could skip safe. So that's why I like if you are going to adjust it, I like having like tall grass to where it won't skip or hay bales to where it'll smack into the hay bales. Those I think that's how you solve it because Trevor is right. If you're playing without a gallery there, that shot is skipping and going safe. Where with a gallery, you're kind of like, I hope it doesn't hit someone's umbrella. I hope it doesn't hit someone's,
Yeah, it's just
what
weird.
are-
It's weird. It's the weird
Stanley
one when
Cups.
disc golf doesn't have rough. Like we just have
Yeah.
like there is fairway and then there isn't. Golf at least has that little bit of a separator. Because yeah, people. I mean, you go to a golf event, like people will get good breaks off of like hitting people in the crowd. Like it does happen, but you have to
Yeah.
throw yourself into that pit first. Disc golf plays a lot closer to the line with the shots that are thrown, and also sometimes the fairway just isn't clearly defined. Sometimes.
That's what I think some of it though is just like that's the risk you're taking when you're throwing that shot. Like even if you throw a shot that you're trying to skip from OB into safe, you're risking it's not going to come back in.
Well, the scenario I just said is you're not trying to actually skip it, but you could skip and be bam bounds. But another question, would you guys rather get hit in the back with a golf ball or with a disc?
What
A
speed?
disc, yeah. This ball would be moving so much faster.
So
I mean, if we're talking about a 180 mile an hour golf ball versus a 70 mile an hour disc.
The ball, I don't think the ball is going 180 at the end of its flight, and
Here's
that's
the one
when
thing.
you would get hit.
Like at the end of the flight. Because here's what I
Yeah.
will say about the disc: is the disc will cut you. The golf ball will not cut you.
That's what I'm saying. Is
So a
like
golf ball's coming down out of the sky
not at 180. It's
But it's
off the
squaring
club
me
face
in
at
the back.
180. Let me see how fast a golf
versus
ball
a,
is
versus
when
a
it lands.
disc
At the end
that's
of
like
its flight.
end of its flight
Yeah.
high.
I've been hit-
I'm still taking a disc to the back.
My brother's been hit like in high school golf match, like on a ball that was on its way down. Like it leaves a gnarly bruise.
I've been hit by some discs, and I mean, other than the one that was grip locked into my head,
I've
None of them
never
were that
really been
bad.
hit seriously with a disc somehow.
By the time the ball hits the ground, the ball speed has dramatically dropped to 47.5 miles per hour. So that's when it hits the ground.
I'm eating that.
But a disc is probably going 10 to 20.
Oh yeah, is this at the if the disc is at its end of the flight? I'm definitely eating that.
Well, if
That's
the
not
ball's
even
in
hurting
the
at all.
flight, it's got to be a
let's
disc.
just say the speed is the same between the two.
Give
Well,
me
if
a
the
speed
speed's
number.
the same,
Give
if
me a.
it's-
Let's say.
50.
Can we say 50,
50 miles
golf
per
ball.
hour.
If the speed's the same, always the golf ball. But the disc will always be going slower.
Yeah, because the golf
No,
ball,
always the
like
disc.
I've been hit by a baseball at like 75, and like yeah, it hurts a lot, but like you're shaking it off.
That's not necessarily true though, Hunter, because golf ball's flight is like up and low, so you could technically get hit by like a low line drive Calvin shot in the back,
But
like
if they're going the
100,
same
100 feet. But I'm saying like a disc technically could hit you going faster because like
Well, but
it'd
if
be hard to
both are
hit
if both
someone.
are at their end of their flight and like
yeah.
coming to the ground,
If they're both at their end of your flight,
the
sure.
golf ball's going
Golf
faster.
ball's going way faster. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I'm saying if they're
Really,
both
if
going
you-
50 miles per hour.
Yeah, if they're both going the same, I think I'd rather have the golf ball.
golf ball. Yeah,
There's less
Sure.
area impact. But
It
I just
won't-
feel
it won't
like
cut ya.
unless you're having a forehand to your back versus a golf ball at the end of the flight.
like a disc
golf
is
ball's
just
most likely
sharp
going
too.
faster.
Like that's just gonna do damage. I don't
Is
want
that? Do you think the disc would like spin a little bit on your back, like
No.
spin off your back a little
Well, the
bit?
golf ball's also spinning.
Oh yeah, it's like when you hit a tree. It very rarely just hits a tree and just drops straight down, unless it's at the
It would
very
hurt.
end. Most of the time, it's like
It could
ricocheting.
bounce, ricochet off you into someone else's neck.
It could.
I
Golf
think
ball can't do that.
it's
Why
not going to
You could
ricochet that
think
far.
about
It's
it.
going to thump you and
Think
drop
about
to
it.
the ground. A disc is when it hits you, it's going to thump and it's going to drop to the ground. In the
You gotta
back.
test this out. I think you could ricochet someone. I think you can do a trick shot off someone's back. Wall
I'm down.
ride.
I'll wear pads.
The next one
Wall
was
ride off of a bunch of people's backs.
That's having fun. The next one was submitted anonymously, which I
I
think is
love it.
very funny, given the wording of this. So
Yes.
PEDs on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Oh,
Will it-
somebody is juicing right now.
Will it happen in the future? Should they do drug tests, or should we just embrace the PEDs in disc golf and what competitive advantage they give? Disclaimer: I'm not on gear. Just wondering what would happen.
Yeah, you cannot
Wait,
convince
so this
me.
was just a question. This wasn't even a story.
No, this person just submitted the
Ask me about
question. I
PEDs.
just thought it was funny because they put the
You-
disclaimer of "I'm not on gear. I'm just wondering what would happen," and they sent it anonymously, asking explicitly about tour. So
you
I'm like,
cannot tell me that
I
they
think
haven't.
I think this is a disc golf touring player that's about to go on gear or some type of PED. And it's like,
He
so,
said asking for a friend.
What do you think? Like, just asking for a friend, just hypothetical out there.
You
would
cannot tell
happen?
me that pros have not actively taken steroids on tour.
Yes, I can. They don't
throughout
even take
history.
surgery when the doctor tells them to get surgery.
Those are vastly different things. One of them is
Okay.
one of
I don't
them
know about
is-
steroids, but
one of
there's
them is
definitely been
fixtures.
drugs.
Here's if
Yeah,
let me tell you
drugs
this.
for sure.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know if
tell you-
anyone's shooting.
Let me paint you a
putting
scenario.
shots in their butt.
You've got a
though.
bunch of young, unregulated kids that have been touring disc golf. I'm not saying if it's happening now, but over the years, if any of them thought that they had a chance to like, oh, there's like I know a guy who has like access to steroids. Like, I wonder if it'd make me throw the disc further. Like, and they know they're not getting drug tested. Sure. Like, of course they would. Like, I would guarantee it's happened. I'm not saying it's like an active thing that's like all over tour. I'm surely it's not, but like, I'm sure
Yeah.
it's happened in the past. There have been guys that have messed around with it. Probably not to a serious degree. I don't think that you would gain some massive advantage in the sport of disc
Well,
golf.
it's just because more for disc golf, wouldn't it be more the recovery is what we've like determined?
yeah, like the
you
steroids
would-
can
you would
help you
do
with
blood
injury
doping.
recovery.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
but,
know
like-
if I'm like the person that you would like come to on tour to tell your dirty secrets. But I don't think I'm hearing these
You're the
stories.
last guy.
Yeah,
I
Are you kidding me? If there was a list, you would be at the bottom of that list.
To be fair, though, I don't know if you guys. We're going to talk about this on Tour Life. Did you guys see Ricky's tweet?
Yeah.
No.
So he tweet. I'll read it to you, Trevor.
I think he's. I think
Um,
I'm rent free in his head. If it's the same tweet, we're thinking.
Oh,
of.
So he said-
no.
So he said, "Hot take. Seems like a lot of players that are switching manufacturers have been kept on the DL. Love to see the players be able to make the announcement and get the hype they deserve instead of everyone trying to leak all their sources
So
on
stupid.
where everyone's going." Now, this is what I'll say
Oh,
on
did
that.
you see Drew's response?
No, what did you say?
Are you on the tweet right now, Brodie?
No, I just took a screenshot.
Drew responded something about like we got a question where the information's coming from. Come on now, don't act all innocent.
Oh, here we go.
Here we
Silas has
go.
it.
Yeah,
Can you read that?
hard to happen when The brands leaked the info. Don't act innocent here. Winky face. I won't elaborate anymore. Handshake emoji.
Yeah, they're so stupid.
Yeah. So
Ricky's out of his mind, bro. Like, this is our job to report on disc golf. If it gets leaked, it's their fault.
Here's the thing about the Ricky
hold
one.
on. This is what I'll say, because I've had people tell me stuff that I do not share on Tour Life.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If somebody ever told us not to, we would never say a word.
No, I also disagree with that, though. Is like, if someone's coming to tell you guys, something, they have to know in the back of their mind. It's different.
But we always will ask. We always will ask.
Sure, yeah. You guys are great journalists. Sure, but what I'm saying is,
journalists.
There's a massive difference. There's a massive difference between Ricky telling Anthony Barella something.
It's true.
And Ricky telling you something. Anthony Barella is a tour player that doesn't have a podcast that is breaking news. You guys have a podcast that you break news. Those two things are definitely different.
You're right. Because like, I've always said this, and if somebody gives us information, we will always double check if we can. Like, first of all, we're going to try and verify, but we'll always double check. And if somebody asks us not to say something, we'll never say it. Yeah. There are so many things that we've heard, so many things that we would never say because people have told us not to, or we just have common sense. But if information comes to us from a source that has no tie-ins to the situation, like that, we know it's just like, it's public info at this point, like it's just out there, then yeah, we're going to say something. And guess what, Ricky? Most of the time that we start talking about this, it generates hype for that player. It is a positive thing. It's not some spoiler. It gets people talking, because then sometimes we're wrong and then they get a twist ending.
The funniest, so the Ricky one,
so stupid.
The Ricky one was the last one that I my sources have confirmed. I'm ready to
Connor's laughing over there. I'm fired up.
I'm ready to Woj bomb this thing. I've almost multiple times added Ricky in
Connor said Ricky's stupid.
I've almost multiple times added Ricky in when a Woj bomb drops. And I'm it's weird how he's saying his sources and this is the NFL. Anyways, the funny one with Rick was because Trevor's right. There's every offseason we know things way more than we should know about player movement and stuff like that. But there's a vast difference between a player or someone telling us and it being don't say this, don't tell anyone. For instance, obviously,
in Ricky's case,
Brodie, if you were
somebody
to sign,
said to do it,
if Brodie were to sign some crazy deal and he tells us as his friend, obviously I'm not going to go tweet Brodie Smith to blah, blah, blah for blah, blah, blah. That's obviously not going to happen. Same thing with other people will text me super excited, whatever. And I know that's not information that's trying to be leaked. Ricky's, I gave that opportunity to my first 5 sources. I didn't leak, even though it was confirmed. Sixth source, I heard it from
they might
10
as well
sources.
Put it in the local newspaper.
I heard it from
point.
10 sources. I'm only counting Touring Pros as my 6 sources that I'm saying this was legit from. I heard it from 10 to 20. But the 6 pros that were touring pros, the 6th pro literally told me. Then I tweeted just man, can you imagine if this were to happen? Blah, blah, blah. I was very much just beating around the bush like everyone was at the time. I was not going to lean in. And they're like, bro, just tweet it already. Just go ahead and confirm it. I promise you it's true. Go ahead and tweet it.
Ridiculous.
That's the text I got from a touring pro. And so what did I do? I tweeted it. And then I got all the backlash and hate for it, which is fine. I'm the one that tweeted it. But that was hilarious to me. It's if this was supposed to be all hush hush, then how do I have
never made it to Hunter?
How do I have 6 different touring pros from multiple different manufacturers all texting me? You think by the time I know something, everyone else in the main sphere of disc golf knows something.
That's the other thing is Hunter and I aren't digging around. We're not out there with spy cameras at MVP headquarters with binoculars looking in
someone there. Someone will be one day. If disc golf continues to get bigger, someone will be one day.
But I'm just saying, if it makes its way to us,
texting me.
Then it's already known by 100 people before it gets to us. That's how this works. Now, here's what I'll say. Since all that has happened, this offseason has been super under wraps.
Way more quiet.
People learn their lessons. That is how this sport advances. Is there's a flaw in the system. People learn their lessons and then they adapt. This year, we've barely heard anything, and that's awesome. Great. That's just how it happens. But yeah, I can't believe the salt there.
That's just so funny.
The whole town of Emporia knew about that move. They probably had a helicopter flying around with your logo on it.
Yeah,
Chris Clemens, we talked about this on Grip Blog, right, Hunter?
Yeah.
Chris Clemens had his van parked at MVP.
Yeah, that's bad.
Discraft.
That's bad.
Or Discraft. Like, come on, guys.
That's so funny.
Yeah, there's two things here that need to happen moving forward. If you want to keep stuff hush hush, two things. Manufacturers, if it comes out to where you're like, if I'm in a situation where let's say I'm the head of Discraft and I'm signing someone, right? I should know everyone in Discraft that knows that I'm signing this person. And then from there, if it does leak out, I should be able to question the people that know. And if I do come to realize that someone in my company leaked it, I fire them. And it gets really well known that, hey, this is stuff that shouldn't be leaked.
You just
People
don't
will stop doing that. The fact that I got information about like Nico going to Lone Star from one of the Ranger team members, that's not good.
The street team guys, that's you got to look out for, man. They know everything.
How is someone on street? Yeah, how does someone know that?
They know everything.
The second thing, like Simon has come out. I think he has come out and said this at this point of like where he was telling everyone and anyone about him going to MVP at his wedding. So that's the other thing. Is like if you're a touring
Germ's
pro,
wedding, I think.
Yeah, if you're a touring, it was Big Germ's wedding.
Yeah,
right.
dude, it was notorious. The red wedding.
If you're a pro and you're like, hey, I have some really like exciting news. Guess what? Just if you freaking house it, just don't tell anyone about it. The fact that you're going out and telling everyone. Yeah. Now you're opening the door.
If I'm a manufacturer,
people, just don't tell anyone.
The only people are going to know is going to be the player themselves. Now I will say here's where I think a lot of the trouble comes that probably people maybe don't know about is the problem is these are two-way transactions, right? Like somebody leaves and is going to someone else. So I wonder how often it ends up coming from like, let's say if Calvin were to leave. If Calvin were to leave Innova, not happening. That's just a hypothetical.
That's fine though. If someone's like they're leaving.
No, but let's say that company, like let's say Calvin decided to leave Innova for Discmania next year, and he went to Innova and said, "Discmania offered me this. Will you match?" And Innova said no. Guess what? Innova knows where he's going now. So now they have the information. Now it's in their company too, and they might have harsh feelings. So that's where it does get trickier. There's got to be it's got to be in your best interest
to say who though.
Spite. I don't know. You got to sign.
No, I'm saying I'm saying as a player. I mean, I don't know if this is happening anymore.
Oh, like if Calvin were to say, "I have this offer," and not say who it's from,
because I don't know if this is happening anymore. But I have heard stories of where companies back in the day would talk to each other so that they didn't like have to fight over players' contracts. So like in that scenario, Innova would have. I don't think this happens anymore, but in that scenario, back in the day, Innova would have called up Discmania and be like, "Hey, man, like let's not raise up the prices, right?" So, is it actually in the best interest of the player to say, "Hey, I have this deal from this company," or should you just say, "Hey, another company is offering me a deal that's more than what you guys are offering"? So that way, no one knows. I feel like it's best interest to not actually say the company.
It's a Wild West, but like I said, this year it's been pretty good. It's pretty good. Hunter, I think you should reply to Rick on that tweet and say, "Ricky, if you don't stop it right this instant, I'll tweet out where every single player is going this offseason. I know them all."
Oh no, I apologize to Rick.
I'll ruin this for everybody.
The Rick one went deeper than just like Twitter. Like there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and my tweet was being used as we'll call it evidence in a lot of it. The Rick one, like I reached out and apologized because I'm like, hey man, like even though again I personally don't feel like I was in the wrong because I heard it from a leaky faucet can't leak without water, and I had a lot of water. I had buckets dumping on me.
It was in the ocean.
I apologized to him. It was accepted, but like man, the dude just keeps bringing it back up and up and up, and like I have changed how I know movements. And I don't say them anymore. Like the Simon movement last year, I knew it when I made that freaking Ion bet, or shortly thereafter if I didn't know it right at that moment. Like we knew that, but we've just changed the direct way we handle it because like I don't want to be that guy anymore.
It's not worth it anymore.
No, because
what is it called when you insider trading? Can Hunter get thrown into jail here?
No,
that-
it's
yeah,
not
I-
publicly traded company.
I tried that years ago,
Now,
man.
did we stock up on
buying up-
MVP before?
None of
Disc
them
and
are
stuff
public,
prior
man.
to big movements.
Whenever
they're
we
not
heard
public.
that,
They're not
whenever we heard that we were in college and Hunter told me that Paul was going to Discraft before it happened, and I was like, "Can we buy Discraft? Can we buy some?"
Yeah, Trevor's like, I think Discraft's public. I'm like, Discraft's
Could you
not
imagine
public.
though? That stock would have jumped.
I'm like, Discraft's not public.
No, but if you
like,
buy a bunch of their discs before,
well, of
that's
course,
kind of
when
insider
Simon
trading.
announced he was at MVP, of course, we had a ton of MVP on the site, and it was a fantastic month of moving MVP.
Insider trading.
That's not insider
I'll
trading.
visit you at the penitentiary, bro.
I guess the question is look at Foundation's inventory and see what we
Yeah, have
have
you
a
seen
lot
them?
of discs. And that's,
Sometimes
that's
it's
where
not
Eagle-
available.
That would be
Sometimes it's
so
not available.
funny.
That's where Eagle and Gannon are going.
Well,
Be like-
I mean, the easy
be
thing to look at is what the frick's manufacturer's selling. Like, you got Discmania basically handing out Eagle McMahon
Why
discs
did
right now.
yeah? I'd be like, why did Foundation just do a giant Eagle McMahon West Side custom run? That doesn't make any sense. Imagine we just try to fake people out with that, and they start buying them up. Like, oh my gosh, that must be where he's moving. And be like, no, we just did it.
We start stamping an eagle, just like a bald eagle, onto like every company and just
Somebody-
drop a new one each week.
Yeah, let's just convince Eagle to go free agent for a year, and then we'll just stamp his name on everything just to try to continually fake people out. Like, no, this is the real one.
This gotta be it. Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
here.
it, yeah.
That's funny. All right, this
Graciousness.
last topic before the crazy story to wrap it up. You know what? I'm gonna save both these topics for next week. I'm gonna save both these for next week
Okay.
because we're just gonna get to this story. It's a long story, and
All right.
we'll wrap the show up with this. So this is from Aiden Johnson. Story titles: Rest in peace, Zappy. So
Aiden, dude. Aiden O'Connell, Brodie's quarterback.
not Aiden O'Connell. All right, here we go.
AOC.
I was in graduate school at the University of Oklahoma at the time when I invited two of my good friends in my cohort to play disc golf with me. Adden had his own disc, different from Aiden. Adden had his own disc and played recreationally himself, and Cooper was brand new, so I let him borrow some of my discs. We decided to play Northeast Lions Park in Norman, Oklahoma. We pull up to the course, and I lent Cooper 3 discs to throw, a judge, a buzz, and an escape. Hole 18 runs parallel to hole 1, and as our group of 3 was teeing off on hole 1, an individual who was teeing off on 18 next to us. So we all walk out in our respective fairways about that time before the individual player took a turn, approached the group. So after Cooper, the brand new player, threw his approach shot, the stranger walks up to our group and introduced himself. He provided his name and expressed excitement that someone new was getting introduced to the game. His approach was a little off-putting because as someone who has played over 2,000 rounds recorded on UDisc, random strangers introducing themselves and expressing excitement that new players are getting introduced to the sport is something that doesn't really happen. Cooper expressed to the stranger that it was actually his second round and that he's playing with me and Adden and that he was really enjoying his experience with the sport so far as our group fully comes to a stop to engage in this conversation. Cooper brought up that he owns no discs of his own and that he was borrowing my disc for the round. The stranger jolted at Cooper's statement that he didn't own any discs and asked us to wait on the fairway as he ran to his car.
Oh, man.
The stranger comes running back with an armful of discs and starts going through the pile, telling Cooper about the flight of each one. Cooper expresses gratitude being offered multiple discs, but respectfully declines, mentioning that he'd feel bad to accept discs from a stranger as a
It was
gift.
Brodie Smith the whole time.
That is when things took a turn. The stranger looked at Cooper and says, "You know, I like you, and I think you're really going to fall in love with this game and become a devoted player. I want you to have something." As the stranger says this, he pulls out a soiled blue distance driver with "Rest in Peace, Zappy" written across the bottom of the flight plate with both a little lightning bolt as well as a broken heart drawn next to it. The stranger tells us a story about how it was his brother's all-time favorite disc and he had lost his brother to gun violence a little over a year before. The stranger goes on to express how this is the most important disc to him and he never thought he'd part ways with it, but he felt compelled to give it to Cooper as the first disc he could own for himself. Cooper profusely declined, talking about how much sentimental value the disc has to the stranger and that he doesn't play often enough to make good use out of it. However, the player vehemently insisted, telling Cooper that his brother would have wanted him to have the disc. We've been talking to this guy for less than 5 minutes. After a couple more minutes of going back and forth, Cooper finally accepts the blue driver from the stranger, and the stranger wishes Cooper the best of luck on his disc golf endeavors and then leaves the course. For the rest of hole 1, the 3 of us in our group were completely flabbergasted by what we just experienced, and we had no idea what it was about Cooper that compelled this stranger to hand over one of his most prized possessions to him, or what made the stranger approach to us to begin with. I had to specify to Cooper this was not a typical interaction you'd have on the disc golf course. My group approaches hole 2, which is a moderate length par 3 that dog legs to the left. Along the right side of the fairway are the backyards of rows of houses and neighborhoods, and as someone who frequents Lions Park, one of the backyards is notorious for having 3 ravenous pit bulls that fiendishly barked, snarled, and foamed at the mouth as disc golf players walked down the fairway.
Gosh.
As Adam and I were talking to Cooper about his disc selection for the drive, we recommended he try throwing his new distance driver.
Why would you do that?
Telling him to put the disc on high so it fades out following the shot of the fairway.
You cannot throw this disc ever in your life.
Cooper, apprehensive about throwing the disc that had "Rest in Peace Zappy" signed underneath
Of course
it, finally
he is. You guys
concedes
are punks.
and agrees to throw the driver for the shot. He holds the disc up and says out loud, "I have no idea why this disc was given to me, but it must have been for a reason. Maybe it'll be the best flying disc I've ever thrown." He lines up his shot at the back of the tee pad, X steps forward, and proceeds to shank the most heinous grip lock I have seen in years. It flies out 45 degrees off his aiming point, down the fairway to the right side, over the backyards of houses to the right. It turns momentarily and then fades, landing right in the center of one of the yards, the one with the 8-foot-tall wooden privacy fence, with the ravenous pit bulls.
Ravenous.
The incarnates of the devil had not noticed us on the tee pad yet, but Cooper, Adam, and I heard some commotion in the yard as it fell to the earth. Absolutely flustered by the incident, we run over to the fence to assess the situation. Oddly, however, as we approach the fence, the pit bulls don't seem to notice us, but we can hear them. It sounds like they're playing with what seems to be their favorite toy by how aggressive and boisterous they are interacting with each other.
What is this story?
Cooper, Ada, and I jump onto the fence to see if we can see the disc, and as we did, our hearts dropped. All three discs had their jowls around Zappy, the blue driver, tugging and tearing and shredding it apart. We could see deep fang indentions in the rim as the flight plate already had a tear down the middle. We proceeded to watch the dogs for a few moments until they noticed us and charged the fence, jumping against it so aggressively it caused me to slip off and hit the ground quite hard. Cooper, Adam, and I looked at each other, eyes wide, completely speechless on what had just happened. From the bizarre intensity of the conversation with the stranger to immediately throwing the man's most prized possession and then immediately over the fence to be dog food. Cooper looked back to the parking lot, freaking out that the stranger might still be there and had seen the entire thing. Thankfully, he wasn't there, but the three of us were left with the burden.
You can never play disc golf again.
Three of us were left with the burden knowing that we killed Zappy's legacy as quickly as the propagation of his legacy was gifted to us. Rest in peace, Zappy.
Dude, I mean, well, the moral of the story, like, I cannot even believe that he threw that disc. That's just like beyond.
Yeah, I don't know what they were
beyond
thinking.
Wild. Like, what are you thinking? That disc, like, you gotta hold on to that for dear life. Second of all, you can't play disc golf in Oklahoma anymore because if you ever show up and that guy's there,
oh, he's gonna ask about the disc. How's it flying for you?
Yeah,
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
hear it.
Conspiracy theory. This guy's a massive troll. And he just goes around with a bunch of discs with different names on them and gives them to people so they freak out.
I mean, it'd be pretty insane.
That'd be a crazy one.
That would be a crazy conspiracy
where's
theory.
The camera? That's crazy.
No,
Is there a video?
There's not a video.
There was no camera when me and Chris were making cookie trails at the University of Florida.
What happened to the video?
We played the video for the first thing.
What video would it be played? Why am I?
Basket tipping over.
You're right.
Basket tipping.
That's what the video was.
That was the video. It was
so
for the
ago.
first story.
Okay.
Yeah, this one didn't have a video, unfortunately.
I can't even believe he threw that disc.
Yeah.
Quick Aaron Gossage story.
Go for it to wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Gooseman. He's out doing a practice round. And occasionally we have amateurs also that aren't in the tournament out playing as well.
Yeah.
Gooseman isn't the most, I mean, he'll tell you this. He isn't the most like social person. Like he doesn't like to create awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy came up to him and was like, "Hey, can I play with you?" And
Don't ever ask
obviously
that.
was like, okay. Like Gooseman's super nice. He's not going to ever, I would have told the guy, absolutely not in your wildest dreams. Deuces.
You would have.
Gooseman was like, sure, no problem. So they're playing, and Gooseman throws a shot on a hole, and the guy's like, "Hey, here, I got something for you." He's like, "Okay," and doesn't know what's gonna happen. The guy reaches into his pocket, pulls out a hot sauce packet from Taco Bell,
just throws it down,
and gives it to him. He's like, "Here, I want you to have this." And Goose just looks at it like,
what?
So confused, and didn't really know how to respond. And I think he asked them like, "What?" He's like, "That shot, man. That was hot. That's hot."
Oh my gosh, dude!
And I told Goose, I said, "Please tell me you left this man right now." Like at that point, I'd be scared for my life.
Rest of the round. Played.
He's like,
played.
no, I think he said no or something, but
Best
he was like, he had hot sauce packets in his in his pocket, ready to go.
Disc
I'm gonna
golfers
start doing
love
that.
disc golfers love like
That's hot,
carrying
man.
something
That's
to hand
hot.
to people. I agree, Hunter. I think we
I'm
might
gonna
need to
start
start
doing that.
carrying something like whenever somebody hits first available, I'll hand them a little piece of bark or something. Be like, this is to put back what you just took from that tree. Maybe I'll do that.
I'm gonna just bring ranch.
Just
Start
ranch.
calling shots ranch.
Oh, that's ranch, man.
That was ranch, dude. Here you go. Just toss me ranch.
You just threw that all the way to the Hidden Valley. Here you go.
Oh,
A whole
man.
bottle.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's this week's episode. If you have any interesting interactions with strangers on the disc golf course, like we just heard too, please let us know. You can fill out the form, submit your topics. Also, don't forget to email me, hunter@foundationdisc.com, with a picture of you and a link to your PDGA profile if you want to be a part of the Guess the PDGA rating game next week. But other than that, we will talk to you again, same time, same place.